It is important to remember that ours was intended to be a citizen government. That is what by, for, and of the people means. When did we get used to the fact that only a professional political class could run for office? The truth is the professional political class, those protectors of the status quo, they have let the citizens of this great nation down. And there is no greater example of this than the Veterans Administration. How long must we live with this stain upon our nation's honor that we cannot serve our veterans the way we should serve them? You know, until Friday of last week, I served as the chairman of a Christian-based organization called Opportunity International. We're the largest microfinance organization in the world. We have lent almost $8 billion, $150 at a time. And I can deliver to a desperately poor woman in the slums of New Delhi, India, alone over a cell phone. But if you are a veteran, you are going to spend months filling out paperwork, many more months while some bureaucrat checks your paperwork, many more months while another bureaucrat decides if you can get an appointment or not. And the regional headquarters of the Veterans Administration in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, has had to have the foundations of the building reinforced because of the weight of the paperwork on the bureaucrats' desks. We cannot settle for this anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We need leadership here at home to unlock the potential of this great nation and to restore possibilities to every American, regardless of their circumstances. But we need leadership around the world as well, because the world is a more dangerous and a more tragic place when America is not leading. The truth is, I have met more world leaders on the stage today than anyone else running for the presidency, with the possible exception of Hillary Clinton, only I wasn't doing photo ops. I was having private meetings with world leaders talking about serious issues like business or charity or the issues that matter to them. And I have served as the chairman of the External Advisory Board for the Central Intelligence Agency, advised two secretaries of defense, a secretary of state, a secretary of Homeland Security. I have sat across a table from Vladimir Putin, just he and I can tell you, having met this man, it is pretty clear to me that a gimmicky button will not thwart his ambition. But there are some things we could do. There are some things we could do that would slow him down and that would cause him to say, I am standing now seeing an America of strength and resolve. We should rebuild the Sixth Fleet. We should rebuild the missile defense program. We should conduct military exercises in the Baltic states, and we should arm the Ukrainians. Every single one of the things that I just mentioned is wholly within this country's control. President Obama always presents a false choice to the American people. He says, if you don't agree with me, the only option is to march off to war. That is untrue. You know, I've been asked what I would do in the first 100 days in the Oval Office, and there is much work that we would have to do in that first 100 days, but I will tell you two things that I would do on the first day. I would make two phone calls. The first is to Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. And I would make that phone call not just because I have known him for a long time. I would make that phone call because I want the world to know that America stands by our allies, and I want him to tell the world that his was the first phone call I made. And the second phone call that I would make would be to the Supreme Leader of Iran. He might not take my phone call, but he would get the message loud and clear. And the message would be this: whatever the circumstances were, the circumstances have changed now. And unless you submit to full and unfettered inspections of every single nuclear facility in your country, we will exact and enact the most crushing sanctions we can. We have a lot to do with how easy or how hard it is to move money around the global financial system, and I would ensure that it was very, very hard for Iran. And I would keep that pressure up until he engages in inspections. And by the way, there is much we can do to help our allies fight against this terrible, evil enemy called ISIS. We can arm the Kurds, as they have been asking us to do for years. We can share intelligence with the Egyptians. We can give the Jordanians bombs and materiel so that they can help fight this fight for us. Every single one of those things are within our control, and we have done none of them. Several weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter whether a woman's hormones prevented her from serving in the Oval Office. Now, ladies, this is a test. Can any of you think of a single example in which a man's judgment was clouded by his hormones? Any at all? Even in the Oval Office. Hillary Clinton must not be President of the United States, but not because she is a woman. Hillary Clinton must not be the President of the United States because she is not trustworthy and she does not have a track record of accomplishment. You know, when I was the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, a publicly traded company, if I made a misstatement of material fact about my record or about our results, I could be sued and charged. If I told one person something that we intended to do in the future and then told another person something different about what I intended to do in the future, I could be sued. I could be charged. Imagine if we had this level, this standard of accountability among the professional political class of Washington, D.C. The American people will have a choice. Are we going to demand trust, transparency, and more than words from our political leaders? Do we want someone in the White House who is not afraid to be held accountable, who is not afraid to challenge the status quo? Have we had enough of a ruling political class that doles out favors to the wealthy, the well-connected, and the few? We have everything we need to solve every problem. All of our wounds are self-inflicted. We have the potential of the American people. All we need now is leadership and citizenship. So if you want to help me, please go on to carlyforpresident.com and sign up and sign on.